Awesome, awesome. All right, my friends. So we are here for a specific reason, and that is to learn how to make an extra $1,000 by designing apps and websites. This is something that I love to talk about, given my background as a UX contractor. And so if you're interested in learning how you can have an extra stream of income learning to design apps and websites, stick around and let's get started. Hey, welcome, Nikki from Baltimore. Glad to talk to you. All right, so today we're going to be talking about UX design and how you can use it to increase your income and achieve your dreams. So first, I'm going to go into a little bit of an introduction for those of you who don't know me. Those of you who do, hi, glad to see you again. Then we're going to talk about what a UX designer actually is. Then we'll go into how to make money doing it, some actionable next steps, and a little bit of a Q&A for those of you who have a few questions. So for those of you who don't know me, hi. My name is Ronald, and I am the lead designer for Moment Studio. I am a Nielsen Norman Group UX certified designer, which is a mouthful. I have now 6 years of professional design experience, 10 years of business experience. I've shipped countless designs to happy users, helped hundreds of people transition into UX design. I love to read, write, and learn new languages. I love to eat, and I hate to cook. It's not my favorite thing at all. So I'm glad that you're here. We're going to learn what UX design is for those of you who might not know. So what is UX design and how can it help me too? So UX design is a process of creating products and services that provide a positive and meaningful experience for users. So in a nutshell, you listen to what people want, you listen to why they want it, you observe how they use it, and then you design the solution, which is normally in the form of an app or a website. So why is UX design so important to businesses? So it was actually found that companies with UX designers grow 2 times as fast and have a 9,900% return on their investment just by having a UX designer work on their product or web service. But UX design is also important for users too, because UX designers make a user's life easier. So having a UX designer build products means that an app or website will be easy to use, fun, and tailored to a user's needs, to the point where it was actually found that businesses retain about 70% of the users who visit their app or website, which basically just means that they get to make a lot more money from repeat customers just by having a UX designer work on their stuff. So now let's talk about how you can make money as a UX designer. There are a ton of different ways that you can do this, but really we're just going to be talking about 3 and focusing mainly on the freelance part of it. So with UX design, you can really choose your own path. You can go the corporate route. You can join a cool team, get paid an average salary of $100,000, and contribute to company goals as a whole. You can be a contractor. Definitely know all about that. So you can work on an hourly basis for up to $175 an hour with experience. I say up to, sky's the limit. With being a contractor, you also can maintain flexibility with multiple different projects that you can take on. So the freelance route is really cool for those entrepreneurs out there. I have a business background myself. You get to be your own boss. So you can start your own agency, and then you can charge for up to $50K per project. And again, I say up to, you can charge whatever you want, working on projects that you like. So if there's something that you don't want to do or a product that you aren't interested in building, you don't have to with being a freelance designer. So like I said, we're really going to be talking a little bit more about the freelance track. And I know that a couple of people have reached out to me about doing freelance types of projects, but they don't really know how to set up a timeline. How do they start? Like, what is it that you tell the client whenever you're beginning a project? So whenever you're a freelancer, really there's a few simple steps that you can take. And I have an example of what a potential schedule might look like. So maybe you start with the kickoff call where you're talking to the client about their needs and really understanding what it is that they want out of this product. Maybe that's day 1, right? We call that the kickoff call. And then on day 5, maybe we're going into some subject matter expert research. So maybe you're speaking with them a little bit more about their particular users and what it is that their company actually does. And maybe you're understanding your own design process and understanding how you're going to be breaking out a lot of this work. I think that whenever you're talking about building a schedule, you want to set realistic expectations. And so, again, I just want to add all this is just an example, so don't feel rushed or don't feel pressured. But maybe a day 7 looks like user flows, right? You're taking all of the information that you got from the client and you're putting it out into what we call red routes for the users. And then after you finish that, maybe on day 9, you're sending this information to the client as a review and you're baking in their review times, right? So we really want to bake in response and buffer times here to make sure that we're not overworking ourselves. We're not saying, oh, I'm going to get you we're going to do the kickoff call on the first day and then I'm going to have the research for you the next day and then the next day user flows. You don't want to burn yourself out. And you want to make sure that this is a really high quality project. And so you always want to bake in your response and buffer times. After that, you might want to do a little bit more research. Maybe you're going to look at a little bit more of a competitive analysis, or you're going to see what other types of products are being created in the same space that your client is in. And then you could start actually building. So you can start your lo-fi wireframes on day 13. You can have the client review them and really understand what it is that you have for the vision, get their feedback in on it. And then maybe you start on day 23, your hi-fi designs. So I think the key thing here is that you want to set a project roadmap for yourself. So you want to start off setting yourself up for success and saying, okay, I know my process. I know how long it takes for me to get from point A to point B. And I'm going to put this in more of a schedule or a project plan for those of you who are familiar and share this with the client. Because the client wants to know, they have deadlines too. They want to know when these things are going to be finished. They want to know when they can expect to be hearing from you. And you want to make sure that you're always in communication with the client. And the last part of that is to stick to it. Obviously, things happen. We're people, that's life, that's the way that it goes. But you always want to make sure that you're organized. You want to make sure that no matter what you do, whatever project it is that you're starting, you're communicating with the client and helping them to understand your process so you can stick to your timeline. So this way you can have other projects, and on those other projects you can stick to your timeline, because when one project falls off, it's a crazy race for the next. So another thing that freelance designers have an issue with when starting out is understanding how to set their own rates. And I know I'm using this terminology like freelance designer. You don't have to label yourself and you don't have to do anything crazy, but what you can do is just say, hey, I'm going to build this product or this website for someone so I can get paid to do so. And in order to get paid to do so, you have to understand what you would charge for your services. So typically a rule that I've come across in my career is that you always want to mark up 55%. So you always want to mark up whatever your price is. You always want to add 55% on for your time, for your labor, and for anything else it is that goes into a project. So if you charge per project, you want to charge your clients after you create your roadmap, discuss it with them, and include a base price of how many hours you think it will take. And then again, like I said, mark up 55% and create your quote that you send off to them. Sometimes they'll negotiate, sometimes they won't, but you are the one who gets to set this in this instance. You can also charge your clients an hourly rate. The typical way that you can do this is divide your desired monthly income by 4 weeks, which is just 1 week each month. Divide that by 40 hours, which is full time, and then add 55% markup for incidentals and charge that as your base pricing. Then you can also charge them per feature depending on what type of project that you're working on. And so maybe they already have a fully built out product, but they want you to build a specific section or 5. In that case, once you check whatever the roadmap is going to be like or what they have in mind for these features, you can calculate how long it will take you to do that job, mark up 55% for each future release, and then charge. So one of the main ways that I think that designers can sort of capitalize on this as a freelance designer is by having you on retainer. So as an added bonus, you can talk to your clients about putting you on retainer to do user testing, make small design adjustments, or collaborate with developers on what the design actually should look like in case there was an issue on the developer side. And what that does is that increases the amount of revenue that you can make per month because you are on retainer, which means that that client has hired you and you're just not actively working for them. Typically, retainers are some type of small fee, maybe like, anywhere between $50 to $300 a month, depending on what type of company you're working for. But it is a very valuable service to the business to have a designer on call that they can say, hey, we're having this issue, or hey, we're noticing that users aren't doing what we want them to do. Can you figure out why? And they love that. So, as a bonus for missing this call yesterday, I want to talk about how to make more money from what you design. So we understand that we're designers, and whenever we design a type of product or a service, typically there's someone on the other end that develops it. So I highly recommend that you pair up with some type of developer, or if the client has one on hand, that's great. But you can also offer different design services as well. So one of those is going to be ads. So we use mobile apps all the time, and we see that there are ads that pop up. And a lot of the time, the people who are hosting those ads get paid, one, for just the exposure. So you can get paid maybe like some type of retainer every month just to have the ad on your app. They get paid per click. And so anytime a user clicks on that ad, they get paid regardless of what happens on the other end. There are also different types of affiliate programs that are out there. So if the person sees the ad, you get paid, clicks the ad, you get paid, and signs up on the other end, you also get paid whatever their affiliate marketing ad would be. And then you can also just create some type of sponsorship, right? To where different companies can buy in to be on your app or service. And so when you do this, you not only get paid when you create the app for whatever company it is you create the app for, or yourself, if that's something that you're into, you get paid for the type of content that is added into it. So the other one that I didn't go over yet is subscription models, because that's kind of like a separate thing. So if you have a specific goal in mind for your app, which you should, because that's the whole point, you can charge for whatever feature or service it is that you want them to use. So I'm sure most of you have experienced this before, where you sign up for an app and it tells you, it's like, hey, this is free up until this point. That could be a date, hey, try this for 30 days free. It could be a specific feature. Hey, you get all these features for free, but if you want this one, this one, and this one, those you're going to have to pay for it. And when you do that, you are the ones who get paid for those services that you're providing. And so if you have a service-based type app, you can definitely increase the amount of revenue that you make from something that you have already created just by having users subscribe. And $2.99 goes a long way. So a lot of people they're perfectly fine with parting with $3, right? And so even if you have a game type of app, or you have, something simple, maybe like, I see those crossword Sudoku apps all the time. You build that once and it just continues to generate money for you, like as much as you want forever, as long as you're still hosting that app. So honestly, if you believe that you can, you will. I know that there are people who might be on this call who don't have any type of business experience, right? Which is why I wanted to say, again, using the word freelancer, starting your own business, like if that's not something that you're into, or if that's not something that seems, or if that's something that seems like out of your depth, don't worry. You can just be you. You can just be Nikki out there with your app that you created, getting paid for the work it is that you do. But you have to believe that you can. So it may seem scary, it may seem daunting, especially if you don't know anything about how to start, but it is possible. And I want to give you some actionable steps to how to make that possible. So number one is always my favorite. It is to make a decision. So take everything that you've learned today. You want to do your own research, come to your own conclusions, go watch all of the YouTube videos, and they'll back up everything that I'm saying. And then land on the fact that you deserve this opportunity, especially if you're someone who is passionate about making money and potentially passionate about UX design. The two aren't mutually exclusive. If you're interested in both, this is just the perfect decision for you. Number two, you want to get educated. So you want to find a trusted source to get your information from to learn how to design. If you don't know, we do have a design program that is structured for those people who do want to make this type of career change. We have different programs that are available to you. But if you don't know anything about design, UX Foundations could be your place to start. And number three, you want to build a portfolio. So from all of the projects that you work on, you want to create case studies and combine them into a portfolio to showcase your work and let the world know that you're a UX designer. That includes a lot of the websites out there like Upwork or Fiverr, where you can get different types of freelance projects and get paid for the work that you do. Having a portfolio is key to showcasing your impact and showcasing what you can do before they actually ever hire you. And number 4, start your business. And again, your business could just be saying, hey world, I'm a UX designer now. I'm going to build you websites and apps, and you're going to pay me to do it. You can go through the interview process with all of your favorite companies if you're going the route of actually working for a company. You can get hired with more flexibility, a higher salary if you're going that route, more money in general if you're not, and more time freedom and the ability to change your life forever. Take it from me. I know I am a UX designer. So I wanted to open it up now for questions, and I'm going to be dropping a few links down below. So the first link is going to be a survey if this information was helpful and interesting to you. The next link is to schedule a call for our program. And the last link is actually for my LinkedIn. Feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. But I wanted to open it up for questions if you had any. So if you have any questions about how to make money as a UX designer, anything about UX design in general, anything related to our program, or anything about what's going on in the world of UX that you would like to talk about. I'll leave it open for the next couple of minutes while you guys type down your questions. On these calls, I always wish that we have like a elevator music in the background. I'll have to figure out how to do that. So this way I'm not just like chilling here while you guys are typing. But feel free to drop any questions that you guys have down below. We'll probably give it another minute or so while you're doing that. If you don't have any questions, thank you so much for joining this call today. I really appreciate hearing from you. I really appreciate seeing you guys on this. And hopefully I've given you some great actionable information that you can take and start making money as a UX designer. Right on, my friends. I want to say that we're good to go without questions. So if you do have any questions as a follow-up after this, please feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. I would love to talk to you. And other than that, I hope that each and every one of you has a fantastic day. Thank you, everybody. I'll talk to you soon.